The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is the main event.
This is your main event, Mark Podcast. I am your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat dad, and the man who, much like Dustin Rhodes, has also been fired for multiple jobs for bleeding. I am Troy. And with me, as always, is the main event collector and figure hunting warrior. He's the WCW watcher of classic wrestling, and the Vader to my Ric Flair. It's Greg. What's up, Greg?
There's so many jokes I have for you getting fired for bleeding. I'm going to leave them all alone.
Yeah, well, you know who also got fired for, not for bleeding, but in case he did bleed, was Ian Rotten. There's that. Why
did you bring him up on a show he's not even going to be on? Or get away from that garbage. May he rest in peace.
No, Axel Rotten's the one that's passed away. So Ian Rotten is still fair game, okay? But as far as
I apologize. I don't know the Rottens very well. That's a real sentence, folks.
Dare you? I did want to clarify for legal purposes, about him getting fired for, having HIV. That is
allegedly.
So there you go. But yeah, so I don't want to get into any hot water in case somebody happens to hear
this.
Yeah, somebody's like, well, actually, he did not get fired for having HIV. It's like,
it was the clap.
Mother of God. Something else that is about as bad as having the clap is a show we're going to be talking about today, man.
Good Lord, what a transition that was.
Oh, yeah. Well, this was, man.
Let's
putting it lightly. This show here almost makes me want to watch an ECW show as a palate cleanser. It was that bad. Not quite, but almost. I'm just saying that. It has went down in the history books of WCW. It's one of the worst piles of crap in history.
I will say this. We have literally watched ECW shows that were better than this.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't want to gouge my eyes out at the end of some of the ECW shows we watched. Now, some of them I did, but, man, this
especially show... my life, and, why did God put me here?
Well, this show, it wasn't bad enough that there was this Uncensored 95.
God, dude.
But then there are
the notes I have for this show, by the way, I'm just going to say, this is like this is a two-scroller on my phone.
Yep. Dude, I'm telling you, man. I've got some notes, but not because it was like, oh, man, all this awesome action. It was like, this BS happened, then this BS happened. But
this show didn't work for him, brother.
Well, yeah. Oh, he couldn't show up for the Great American Bash, but by God, Hogan was there for Uncensored.
Uncensored with lots of rules, mind you.
Right. And I've got to say, it's like WCW when...
I hate laughing at my own jokes. I know it's terrible, but good Lord, this is bad.
When the next year rolled around, WCW was like, how do we one-up Uncensored 95? I know, Uncensored 96.
I feel like Uncensored 96 wasn't as bad. I mean, it's got the worst match in wrestling history on it, but as a whole, I don't think it was as bad as this, honestly.
I'd have to go back and watch. That's like a photo finish. I gotta say, it's awful. This one may be worse. You may be right on that.
I don't think you know what a photo finish is, but
it's like I'm telling you, it's super close. It's like which one wins for worst? Like it's neck and neck. But
which one of my cat's crap smells better?
Good Lord. Well, we are going to get into all that. We do have a lot of news and notes to cover as well. But before we do that,
in 1995, no way.
But before we do all that, today's episode is sponsored by Mahler Bros Golf. We all want to look good on the golf course, but it often comes at the expense of feeling good. Mahler Bros Golf has polos that look good and feel good. With their lightweight and stretchy material that hugs your body, you will feel cool while looking just as cool. Their polos are guaranteed to make you look better, but it's up to you to golf better. On a hot summer day at the golf course, there's no polo that you would rather wear than Mahler Bros Golf signature polos. Mahler Bros Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and others for those who want a subtle and sleek-looking design. They also have fun t-shirts, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience better. Use code BELLYUP at MahlerBros.com for 15% off. Spring and summer are just around the corner, so you know when you're out golfing and the sun's beating down and you just want to take your shirt off because of the heat? Well, these polos almost feel like you aren't wearing one at all. That's great for beating the heat, because I don't know about you, but even here in the Midwest, our summers get blazing hot. So you don't want to give up your golfing time because it's just a little too warm outside. Don't wait to try out your new favorite golf apparel. Upgrade your golf attire with Mahler Bros. Get 15% off at MahlerBros.com with code BELLYUP. That's 15% off at MAHLER Bros.com with code BELLYUP. Turn heads on the golf course or wherever you wear Mahler Bros polos. Mahler Bros Golf. Look good, feel good, play good.
You know what I love about being able to plug curtain jerking? I get so many innuendos.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and the thing
is, I said I was jerking the curtain in public, and I think Jacob Grandi had a little laugh at that one. He's like, "In public, really?"
Yeah, there you go. Well, and the thing is, and that brings me to this. Don't skip our next break because while we just told you to buy some awesome products, in the upcoming actual break, we're going to tell you about some awesome podcasts here, not just here on the network and all. And we don't have a spot for Curtain Jerkin, but like you just mentioned, it is on our YouTube page. There is an actual podcast feed if you want to look up Curtain Jerkin with Jacob Grandi. Go check it out on our YouTube because, yeah, if you go subscribe to our YouTube channel, not only do you get Curtain Jerkin, but you also get our podcast, clips from our podcast that you can spread around and whatnot. And
yeah, like you run.
Good Lord. But you also get the Marks on Media stuff, which I have a lot of fun doing that because it's nice to branch out from wrestling every once in a while.
I've been slacking on that.
It's fun. I have a lot of fun with it. I noticed certain things get, you told me before, you're like, I think you have a crush on Henry Cavill or whatever. And I was like,
and who wouldn't?
Well, yeah, he is. I mean, if I did have them tendencies, he'd be the one. But beyond that, he gets hits, man. Every time I put his name in the title of a video, good Lord. Every time I put his name in the title of a video, I'm guaranteed to get hits on that thing. I'm like, all right, fine.
This is the man God made to be Superman, and then WB said no thanks.
Yeah, well,
I don't want to get into all that, but it still ticks me off.
Yeah, me too. I think he's doing okay for himself though, because he's getting his own show. The Amazon backed up a truck to him. It was like, whatever you want to do, here's all the money for it. Do it. And he's a
blank check, fill your amount.
Right. Well, I haven't broke this one out in a while, so I got to go with.
Sir, here is a check with my name on it. Write down any number on this piece of paper, and I will pay it.
Yes.
Had to get that one in there. But yeah, so we're also going to be telling you about other podcasts like Apron Bump and Here in Puckburg, TSS Fantasy, and all that stuff.
Something I haven't plugged yet. I mean, Apron Bump is funny, man. I caught myself laughing at it when I was walking somewhere. People were looking at me like I was nuts.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Even if
he's got our kind of humor is the thing. If you listen to it,
right. That's why you and I talked about. It's like our opinions don't always match up, but that's not a big deal. It's like he gets our humor, we get his humor. It works, and he's been a great Kyle, the like fifth or sixth Kyle that we freaking know. He is great for a third chair on this podcast. So I'd like to have him back eventually. I've been on his podcast a few times. It's a fun time. So we sit there and have a few yucks. But anyway, check those out.
It wasn't a fun time. The show we're all to do.
Yes, thank you for the transition.
Well, the pay-per-view we're about to do, I should say. This show is going to be fun, but.
Oh, well, yeah, the bad shows are always the most fun. But we'll get into all of that and the news specifically right after this break. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get ready to rumble! in your new Main Event Marks merchandise. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, masks, hats, stickers, pins, and much more on our Redbubble store. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com. You can also pick up some awesome clothing items with the latest updated show graphics on our Bonfire store. That's bonfire.com/store/main-event-marks. Support your favorite retro wrestling podcast and pick up some cool swag on our Bonfire and Redbubble stores. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com and bonfire.com/store/main-event-marks.
By God! Somebody's interrupting the main event marks! Sit down, JR. It's just me, Kyle Sullivan, aka Shaggy Von Doom, your host of Here in Puckburg on the Hockey Podcast Network. I know, a hockey show on main event marks. Who would have thought? This is an invasion angle. Somewhere between the Nexus and when WCW tried to invade WWE, somewhere in there. But I'm over here just telling you that one half of your tag team champions over here, Greg, he told his story of his love for the game of hockey over on my show. And if you'd like to hear that story, all you have to do is search Here in Puckburg wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. In the meantime, Shagamania's got to go run wild on some other hockey show. So, just remember, quote the Raven, nevermore, take your vitamins, say your prayers, and oh yeah!
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back. Real quick, we want to let you know that the Main Event Marks is sponsored by Shocked Energy. Shocked Energy is a healthier alternative to traditional energy drinks that gives the energy that gamers need while in a long session without skimping on their health. Their products come in a powder form and you mix them into water. You can either choose from green apple or watermelon. You can also try both if you get their sample kit. Use our special link that is down in the podcast description, or you can simply go to shockedenergy.com at checkout. Use the promo code MAINEVENT, all one word, to save 10% on your order. That's promo code MAINEVENT, and you're going to save 10% at checkout. Do you like your coffee like you like your podcasts? Gimmick and politics free? Well, so do we here at the Main Event Marks, and so do the guys and gals at Coffee Brand Coffee, where they ditch the gimmicks. You see, when you buy your coffee from other roasters, chances are that they've been sitting on the shelf for heaven knows how long. Don't rob yourself of freshness. At Coffee Brand Coffee, they roast to order, ensuring that you get the freshest coffee possible. And as Greg will tell you, that's what counts. Coffee Brand Coffee offers bagged coffee as well as K-Cups, and for the non-coffee people, they offer a variety of teas and cocos. Just click on the link down in the podcast description or go to coffeebrandcoffee.com and use our promo code MAINEVENT, all one word, at checkout to get 5% off your order. That's coffeebrandcoffee.com, and use the promo code MAINEVENT to save 5% at checkout. It is time for the news and notes. Do you crack something, or was that just a sound? There you go. All right.
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Exactly. What sugar-free drink are you from the Dollar Tree are you drinking today?
It's called Accelerator. It's an Accelerator energy drink. 0 sugar, as you know. Yeah, good call on that.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm just drinking water today, or right now I am. So
that's nature's fruit juice.
Yeah, that's it. But anyway, getting into all this.
That is correct.
Shut the fuck up, Dave.
Everything that guy just says bullshit.
Starting off with the WWF here. So the World Wrestling Federation has announced that they'll be adding another 4 pay-per-view shows in 1995 in order to keep pace with WCW, starting with a May 14th show in Syracuse, New York, which will be dubbed In Your Home.
How about that?
Yeah, well, Uncle Dave, close, but no cigar. The new shows will run 1 hour 45 minutes and cost only $14.95, which is $10 less than WCW's non-Hogan shows. Ones that feature Hulk Hogan will cost.
The dynamic pricing, I never knew that.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, if you want to see Hulk Hogan, you pay us more. Damn it!
It's like
that worked for him, brother.
It's like out the Coliseum Oakland A's games. Like, no one goes to our games for the hell of cheap. But the Yankees or the Red Sox or something like that's in town. Oh man, they go up. And that's not secondary market, by the way.
Well, and I know this probably hurts you to say, but I'm sure whenever the Chiefs come to play the Raiders, I'm sure those tickets are, pretty expensive.
I mean,
but
obviously the Cowboys and the Packers and stuff, they go everywhere they go, they're more expensive. Yeah.
Yep.
But like, I didn't know dynamic pricing was happening on pay-per-views back in the day. I'm today's years old knowing this.
Yeah, right. But ones that feature Hulk Hogan cost $27.95. To balance off this low price for the new shows, the big shows will be more expensive at $34.95 for WrestleMania and $29.95 for SummerSlam. I remember my first WrestleMania I ordered was $20, and that was $50. I don't know what they cost now if you order them on
The first one I
pay-per-view.
ever ordered, right, like flat out, didn't watch it at anyone's house but my own, was WrestleMania 19. And that one was 40, I want to say. WrestleMania 19 coming up soon, by the way.
Was it? Yeah. Was it?
I feel like it was like $40.
Oh, okay. So they upped the price the next year then?
I think so.
That makes sense. What was it? 23 was Undertaker and Edge?
I was 24.
24. Okay. That one I watched at a buddy's house, and he invited over there was 5 of us, and we all pitched in $10. So that was a pretty good deal.
I remember from WrestleMania 6 to 9, I watched either with my grandfather at a friend's house, and then from 10 to 18, I watched it at a buddy's house through a nefarious way, not my way. Point that out.
Hey, look,
and I'm not trying to make light of it, but he's now since passed away. So what are you going to do? Throw him in jail?
Yeah, exactly. That's like when bill collectors, it's like somebody dies and they've got outstanding bills. It's like, now what? I don't like being in debt, but just in a ha-ha kind of way. I kind of hope that I have some debts when I die, just so it's what are they going to do?
Imprison your corpse?
Yeah, right. Exactly. But anyway, at this point, there's a whopping 18 wrestling pay-per-views scheduled for 1995. I'll just fast forward a couple decades. Plus, whatever UFC shows put out there, and whatever wacky stuff like Herb Abrams or UWFI or UWFI or whatever.
Hey, I want to backtrack real quick. This past Saturday, as of this recording, was the UFC, the return of John Jones.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we were just talking about pay-per-view prices. During the show, they flat out say, they'll see the new updated pay-per-view price. They slip the word update in there and make it sound okay.
Yeah. Well, didn't you say it's damn near $100?
It is, yeah.
F that, man.
Yeah, I watched it at a movie theater.
Yeah, why would you pay that much money? For the convenience of sitting on your ass in your own home, I guess. But it's I'd rather trek to the theater for that. But anyway, at this point,
I have Cinemark Movie Pass, so essentially it was free.
Oh, there you go. But at this point, it seems like the real money in wrestling has gone from house shows to pay-per-view, as evidenced by all the groups that only do house shows going out of business. WWF and WCW really only do them because that's what they've always done. ECW might be doing okay in Philly, but hasn't turned any kind of profit outside of the bingo hall. I know. And pretty much...
Well, there's a surprise of the century.
No wonder they kept running that building. And it's pretty much has anyone with a business background shaking their heads in disbelief because you can't sustain a long-term promotion that way that they're doing it. Look who won the pony. Clearly, they need to get on pay-per-view to survive. Fast forward about 2 years, they'll...
What's left out of that statement is you need to get on pay-per-view and people to buy it to survive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean...
I suppose you get some money from the media rights, but I don't think that really is going to solve your woes.
Yeah, well, TNA found that out. They quit doing so many damn pay-per-views after a while because nobody was buying them.
Oh, remember, they did only pay-per-views for a while.
Yeah, well...
Which I'm still trying to figure out to this day how that was even remotely sustainable.
Well, by the time they switched back to, they only did, 4 a year or 2 a year, something like that?
They started out with one every month.
Well, no, I'm talking about when they stopped doing the every month pay-per-views. You remember?
Oh,
They
now
started
you mean
doing
like now?
yeah,
I think they have like 4 or 5 regular ones, and they do have a
right.
monthly major show, but it's on their streaming service, I believe.
Okay. Well, I remember when they did. It was like one year they were doing one pay-per-view a month, and then the very next year, I think they shorted it down to 4, and then every month they would have a TV special, quote unquote.
Yeah,
And
that's
they would
kind of what
just
NXT does now.
yeah, and they would name an episode of Impact, whatever the hell.
Like tomorrow night is Roadblock, which used to be a pay-per-view, and now they're just theming a show as it.
Well, you remember it was like what wasn't it Roadblock End of the Line or some crap like that? I can't even remember that.
Kind of made no damn sense.
Yeah, it's like, why do you keep adding stuff to the name of the paper? Just like let it go, man.
I thought Roadblock was just perfect.
Yeah, it's like that one's fine. It's like you don't need to add a bunch of stuff, whatever. But I don't know. It's just like WrestleMania Backlash. It still makes me shake my head.
I hate that.
I know, it's like just go with Backlash, man.
It's funny because Backlash is one of their all-time great names, I thought, and then they ruined it with that.
Right. I remember the first because they didn't have Backlash for a little bit, I think, and then they
brought it back. I want to say.
Yeah. Well, because when they brought it back as SmackDown exclusive,
I couldn't.
Man, that's
when
great.
Styles won the WWE title.
Yes. Yep. Beat Dean Ambrose,
the TNA guy who was never going to do anything in WWE.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, getting back to this, as a result of all the focus on pay-per-view, Vince McMahon has now decided to cut back on house shows again and pull all his energy behind building the money pay-per-view shows instead. B shows will be cut back almost entirely, and A shows will continue as before, but more frequently switch to overseas shows instead, with promoters paying for those shows in advance and thus guaranteeing profitability. Excuse me. Domestic shows will focus more on running in markets where they have to in order to keep their TV shows, plus the usual big markets or places where WCW wants to run.
Yeah. Can you explain to me what you mean by B show?
So, yeah, for anybody out there that didn't know, so they had 2 house show loops. They had the A show loop,
that's what I thought.
B show loop. Yeah. For anybody out there that doesn't know, to put it in terms of
I gotcha. If you watch baseball, and right now during spring training, and you see your team having 2 games, one of them is the A squad and one is the other squad. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's literally what it is. The good ones versus the the bench riders, the utility people.
Or back in like the late 80s, early 90s, they had the Hogan run, and then they would have either the Macho Man or Ultimate Warrior run. So you would get a top guy on top, but one's, obviously Hogan was the guy, but the other one was like the other guy. So, they always put like one bigger name on top, and then the rest of them was like, whatever. And I think sometimes I know they did the Intercontinental Champion on one, and then the World Champion on the other. So that was an interesting time.
I remember that story with Coco Beware when he said everybody wanted to get on the Hogan one.
Oh yeah.
She wonder why.
Well, Bruce Pritchard talked about that, where he said people didn't give a damn if they were who they were facing, if they were jobbing or not. They just came
losing in a minute.
Yeah, they look up the card and be like, "Who's on top? Who's on top?" Hogan. Yes. All right. Because they knew they were getting paid. Yeah. Well,
I don't fault anyone for that, man. I would too.
Nope. Oh yeah, man. Hogan was the draw. So there you go. But yeah, about the house show things, like Eric Bischoff talked about that. He was like, every time we go out the door, we're losing money. He's like, why are we doing house shows? And the only answer he could get back was, well, that's what we've always done. He's like, yeah, and that's how we're losing money. So why are we sticking with it? Like, it's dumb. And he said that people acted so indignant when he cut house shows. Like, how dare you? He's like, we're not making money on them. Why would we keep doing them? And then he upped the pay-per-views and voila, made money. How about that?
But he completely killed WCW.
Oh, yeah,
completely.
Of course. And I know it's like WB's still floundering, obviously, but it's kind of like when David Zaslav came in as the new president CEO. He's like, oh, all these movies that are going to flop and are clearly going to flop, let's cut them and not do them. And let's.
But sir, these are done. They're already done. So what?
Yeah, it's like, well, we can. Well, his thing with like people pointed out about like when he cut Batgirl, he's like, well, we'd have to pay even more money for the advertising for it. Whereas if we cut it and we can get a full tax write-off for it and get all that money back. So F it. It's like, well, all right. And then he's like, hey, you know all those properties that we own that make money? Maybe we should make more movies of those. Genius. Ah, man. It's like, you think like you and I, we're rubes, we're the plebs, looking at this stuff, and we're like, why don't these companies do such and such?
I've been called worse.
And we sit there like, why are these companies not doing X, Y, and Z? It's like, what, idiots. Meanwhile, they're losing a ton of money. Like, all right. And then when they do X, Y, and Z and they make money, then they act like, oh, it's such a novel concept. Whatever. Either way, WWF is bitter at the cable companies again because they dare to actually support WCW Uncensored and won't open up ordering of WrestleMania until after the show is done. However, Uncle Dave would like to once again stress that most of the ordering for WrestleMania comes in the last week anyway, and it's guaranteed that the show will be a big success.
Gonna have to agree with him on this one because I don't think we ever bought it until the day of. Hit the button on the remote, boom, you have it.
Yeah, right. I like who is like, oh man, I got to remember a month in advance to order this pay-per-view. Like, who the hell does that?
I always thought about stuff like, what if I order it and something happens and I'm not home or something? You'll get that back.
Oh, dude, I can't remember what effing service it was. That I had never heard of this before. I mean, I don't do a lot of pay-per-view, or I didn't do a lot of pay-per-view ordering back in the day. But Brian Alvarez complained about it. He said they give you like you pay and you get pay-per-view tokens or whatever. Like you pay X amount of money and it basically has it stored up on your account, so you could just hit a button and boom, you got the pay-per-view right away. And he said there's one of the big cable companies kept effing him over on it, and he'd have to call every single month and get it fixed.
They probably knew who he was, so.
Wow. They're like, well, actually, I don't want you giving the WWE a bad review in the Observer, so I will not let you have this pay-per-view, sir. Be like the cable guys on South Park, where they're like, oh, that's too bad. Yeah. And they start like rubbing their nipples. Like, what are you going to do? Cut your cable? Aww.
Yeah, anyway. One of those idiots that think that their money is the money. Oh, you're losing my business.
Yeah, I always like that. Somebody pointed that out when somebody's like, well, you just lost a customer. He's like, you think I own this business? What do I give a damn? But that's why they're doing the bit on WWF TV where they're stressing to fans to, quote, ask for WrestleMania by name, because otherwise cable companies might just assume that it's uncensored that viewers are looking for. Who the hell would assume that?
I vividly remember Todd Pettengill saying, call him, order by name. He would say this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, like, who's thinking, oh, they want the wrestling pay-per-view. They want uncensored.
A lot of people. You'd be surprised.
Well, okay, yeah, I could see that. If you're not, like, into wrestling, yeah. If they just
hear... Did we say, like, when something goes bad in wrestling, WWE always gets the blame?
Yeah. And I always like... And it could just be somebody's like, yeah, I want to order that wrestling pay-per-view.
Oh, good Lord. That's probably exactly how they sounded, too.
Yeah, it's like, which wrestling pay-per-view? The one's coming up.
Well, they said wrestling. Clearly, they mean WCW.
Well, you do have a point there. Or should I say...
That is correct.
That's classic.
WWF announced Owen Hart and a mystery partner against the Smoking Guns at WrestleMania. There's no word on the partner, but they're trying to get Chris Benoit and shoot them to the top of the division as a tag team. Isn't it British Bulldog and Lex Luger? Or is that a different match? Oh no, they faced the Blue Brothers. That's right.
Oh, that's a classic. No, it ends up being Yokozuna.
Yes. Okay. I'm getting them confused there because I know there was a couple tag matches on that card. Because you and I had talked about that was pretty much the end of Luger's run. He wasn't there much longer, right?
Yeah. After Shawn Michaels and Diesel. That tag match might be the best match on the card.
Yeah. And Yoko was in his I can barely move phase, unfortunately. But yeah. Didn't he?
They make sure to mention that on commentary. He's bigger than ever.
Yeah.
He was trying to be the
big ass beard at the time.
I think this is when he came back to the beard, yeah. But I think this is when he was trying to be the biggest man on planet Earth. I remember correctly.
And WWF sent him to rehab for weight loss. I guess.
Which is ironic. You think they would love that freak show on there, like, oh, we got the largest man in the world.
Yeah, but like Bruce Pritchard also said, he's like, well, you get that damn big, you're super unhealthy, and you're probably going to die. So, who wants that on their conscience,
All right.
But I guess they sent him and Vader to weight loss rehab for a while, and they would sneak out in the middle of the night and get KFC.
That's about the worst thing you can sneak out and get.
Yep, that's definitely up there. So
I'm not I do eat it at times, but I only if I'm going to have it, I make sure I go to the gym that day. If I skip the gym that day, I'm light.
Yeah, right. I like their pot pies too. They're pretty damn good, and they're not greasy.
Not like my mother.
What?
She's like,
you don't like their pot pies?
Obsessed with those damn. And no, I didn't say that. She's just like obsessed with them.
I usually get the Marie Calendar ones to make them at home, but yeah,
like later we're gonna go get food from Monday Night Raw. I guarantee you. Oh, give me my KFC, give me a Popeye.
Nice. But there's some interest in by the WWF in using Eric Watts, although not for a while.
Right.
We want Techno Team 2000, damn it.
Yeah, I know for a fact they pop up in 95 because we once reviewed 1995 and they were on that. So, yeah. Man.
Techno Team 2,000.
Yeah, Eric Watts and another guy.
I couldn't tell you the other guy's name. It was a gun to my head, honestly.
Yeah, right. I know. It's like, did he ever do anything else? Or is it just like
a good thing if you think about it?
Yeah. How do you wash the stink of that off of you? It's pretty bad. You're on national TV. It's not like Eric Watts had a stellar resume to lean on at that point anyway. But, I mean, although he did lock Arn Anderson in the STF in a gas station parking lot. So, there's that. Anyway.
Wait, say that again?
Where Eric Watts locked Arn Anderson in the STF in a gas station parking lot?
I didn't hear that. I thought you said he locked him in the parking lot.
No, there was a segment where like Arn Anderson jumped him at a gas station and he took him down and locked him in an STF.
I remember this now. Yeah. I thought you were talking shoot for some reason.
Oh, dude, that would have been
I'm pretty sure Arn Anderson would kill him.
Yeah, most likely. But, dude, just like, because that's so effing practical. Oh, you're in a brawl in a parking lot. STF.
Oh, man.
But sticking with people who had bright futures, Pierre Woulet debuted his new pirate gimmick with an eye patch, but he did actually acknowledge a Quebecer and just said, quote, "Today I have a news story."
And as of we speak today, he has an even news story.
Yeah, right. Now he can't die. It's whatever, man. I'll say this: he's a tough SOB. Like, don't like a big crap house.
Was he like 20 years old when he started wrestling?
Something like that. He was a youngin', but man, he was thick AF, man, with two C's. But another show that might challenge WrestleMania for the biggest money show of the year is the weekly pro wrestling show at the Tokyo Dome. Hell yeah.
7 stars.
Both All Japan and New Japan announced their matches this week, with Hashimoto defending the IWGP title against Masachono.
Who?
Or, you know it. Go ahead.
Masa, my hero, Shono.
I knew you wanted to. And an All Japan dream match of Mitsuharu Misawa, Kenta Kobashi, and Stan Hansen versus Toshiaki Kawada, Akira Tao, and Dr. Death.
I'm sorry. Once you said dream match and then you said Stan Hansen, I tuned out.
Wow. They loved his ass in Japan, man. He was over.
Me, he was the guy who noticed those two guys had the tiny wangers.
Good Lord.
For those who haven't seen No Holds Barred, go watch it.
Yeah.
It's fantastically bad. Go watch it.
I don't think he ever stuck around much in the U.S. just because he was not going to be a top guy, and he didn't want to lose too much.
They have weird loves in Japan, dude.
I know.
Him and
the
Scott
big-ass
Norton.
Texan. Dr. Death. Yeah. Well, he knew he wasn't going to be a top guy over here as far as, like, winning all the time. And guys like that are huge in Japan back during this time, they didn't want to lose a lot in America, and then it hurts their stock over there. Because honestly, from what I hear, they made a killing in Japan. So
I'm big in Japan. I can't lose on TV in America.
Exactly. Might make it into the magazines. My thing is, like, when it came to ones like Vader that did that in the WWF, they're like, so are you planning on leaving us soon? Like, what's the deal here?
All right.
Like, that one's kind of effed up.
Transparency is nice.
Yeah, right. But they're close to a sellout anyway at this point, and if they hit it, they'll break the all-time record set by New Japan earlier this year. I don't know if they did, but this is a funny story from Japan. IWA did a thumbtacks match on March 7th at Kurikan Hall featuring Hiroshi Ono and Nakamaki, whoever the hell that is, versus
knock it the hell off.
Versus Leatherface and Cactus Jack. Both Leatherface
How
and
did they get away with calling all Leatherface?
Dude, they had a Freddy over there too, so I don't freaking know, man. I'm assuming copyright laws in Japan are different. I really don't know. But both Leatherface and Nakamaki took bumps off the apron onto the floor, which was covered in thousands of thumbtacks.
Allegedly!
Sounds like a really great show already, dude.
Well, Cactus Jack did not take the bump. So the bright side, this does, in fact, confirm that there are two people in this world crazier than Cactus Jack.
I think we can't Cactus Jack saying I ain't doing that. He's like, that's telling, man.
When he strokes that beard and it's like, that don't work for me, brother. Like, there you go. Speaking of which, shout out to Kyle from Apron Bump and his wife. They both turned 30, and I don't know if you saw the pictures. Everybody dressed up like Hulk Hogan for the party.
I did not see them.
They're all over Twitter. They're hilarious. His wife was NWO Hogan, or Hollywood Hogan, and then Kyle was WWE return Hulk Hogan. It was pretty funny.
80s Hogan. It's the best one.
Well, I asked him, I was like, so did your wife say that turning 30 doesn't work for her, brother? And he's like, no, but that would have been awesome. Anyway, the War promotion will debut a new character called Death Mask, who will be John Hawk, a.k.a. Bradshaw, playing the Undertaker character, but with blonde hair. Yeah. Can you imagine him being the Undertaker?
I know for a fact he's still in WWE in 1985. What, did he do double duty or what?
He did say he came. I think he basically said he was seen in Japan, and that's why he got hired. There you go. But Keiji Muto, Hiroshi Hase, and Shinya Hashimoto will be traveling to the U.S. in May and will probably be doing something at WCW Slamboree. I don't know if they do or not. I don't remember Slamboree 95.
Is that this right here? What we're about to do? I don't know if you want to.
I know I've seen it in the past. I know it's.
I want to say it's the Legends one, the Legends reunion. So
that's what I was going to ask. I think it's Macho Man versus Flair, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and his dad's in the corner, right?
Yeah. Past that, I remember the black and white match. It was the Indian strap match between Dick Murdoch and Wahoo McDaniel, which tore the effing house down in '95, man.
I don't think Dick Murdoch probably liked him, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I think Dick Murdoch minded his P's and Q's because it's Wahoo McEffin Daniel. So, but in the words of Chris Farley,
that is correct.
I never heard of this one before. WCW plans to do a UFC show in Japan on June 4th, or they did plan to do it, but it's been scrapped. There's not enough time to make it happen for cable company deadlines, so it's either going to be delayed until September for a combined show with K1 and Antonio Inoki, or more likely, the whole thing is a dead issue. Yeah, it's that last
I'm going to go with dead issue.
Yeah. Like, do you honestly think, like, Eric Bischoff would be like, yeah, let's have our guys go over to Japan and just beat the piss out of each other? Like, as a shoot. Like,
God, pal,
There's
the
only
brawl
one-
for all was a success.
yeah, there's only one dude in wrestling that was that effing dumb, and it was Vince Russo. Bro!
Not to stick up for that idiot or anything, but you have to remember, it was his idea, but he didn't force it on TV. That went through the filter, and he was allowed.
Yeah. I was gonna
Like,
say,
why does he get all the blame for it? It's kind of unfair.
Yeah. I was about
And
to
I'm not
say,
defending the idiot.
Well, in his slight defense, Vince McMahon said, "God dang it, pal, let's do it." Probably close to that, but so Ric Flair was furious with the WCW booking committee and threatened to quit the company on March 6th.
Oh, tell me another
Man.
one.
Yeah, this tale as old as time. But everything was smoothed over a few days later. Basically, Flair was mad that Hulk Hogan wasn't working the TV tapings leading up to the pay-per-view, and he's also mad because Randy Savage now wants the Hogan power of booking his own angles. So he's mad that they negotiated a better contract than he did. Like, get over it, dude. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, everybody will tell you no one should ever let a wrestler have creative control ever, no matter what.
Hell no. See how well that worked out through the ages. But Uncle Dave does note that Flair is trying to recreate his 80s run, except now he's 15 years older and he's trying to play a Playboy heel in his 40s, and it isn't a great idea. Basically, Flair is trying to redo the Four Horsemen again with the same people, while Hogan wants to redo the Ultimate Warrior with someone else, apparently an indie geek named Rio Lord of the Jungle, and redo Andre the Giant.
Who?
Well, it's we'll get to him here in a minute. And redo Andre the Giant with someone else, this Paul White kid we've heard so much about, and they're both grasping at their 80s youth and failing miserably. I mean, is Hogan really failing miserably? He's making the money.
When they're upcharging pay-per-views because he's on it, clearly he's still a draw. So
No, Greg, he's a failure. God.
What do I know?
Exactly. Meanwhile, Brian Pillman, Steve Austin, and Dustin Rhodes, who are supposed to be the future of the company, coast aimlessly with no programs.
Man, those three are going to age in WCW like milk.
Yeah, right. Fast forward to the end of the year, all three of them are gone.
All of the other channels.
Is Brian Pillman gone in 95? Or is it 96 when he leaves?
I want to say he signed in 95. I could be
Yeah, I
very
can't
wrong on
remember.
that.
I know he's at least there in the fall because he joined the Four Horsemen. I don't remember if he quite left yet, though.
When did he
Steve
try
Austin
to book out
was
his
on.
Johnson and piss all over ECW?
Right, and then allegedly call, did he actually use the N-word
I don't
in
know.
ECW? I can't remember because I know Shocker, New Jack got mad.
Oh,
and said,
God.
"You're not allowed to say that." I can't remember if he actually said that.
Yeah,
out
but
the ring.
it becomes like, why are we even talking about this when you said New Jack said it? Because everybody says it to him.
That is very true. Or
That is correct.
Oh, that's three.
yeah, exactly. There'll be more, I'm sure. For those wondering about the ultimate surprise at the Uncensored show,
God.
it was originally supposed to be the Road Warriors, which would have been better. However, still
And it would
weird.
have made no sense still.
Right. But now it's going to be Rio, Lord of the Jungle, dressed up like Ultimate Warrior because they can't afford the original.
Wow.
According to Eric Bischoff, he was never approached about hiring the Ultimate Warrior.
That's what I call BS on. I don't believe that.
He said from the beginning, Jimmy Hart pitched this whole thing. And it's like, okay, and then you greenlit it?
Okay, let's say that's true. So what was the intention here? To get Warrior to see this and get pissed off and want to go on his own accord?
Yeah, right. Like, who wouldn't see that and get kind of pissed? Well, I mean, you'd probably be a little flattered and laugh at it, but I'd also get kind of pissed. It's like, so they can't call me and offer me a job, but they'll get an imitator? Like, okay. By the way, the face paint, I know this is like the least of all of it, and we'll get to it more later on, but the face paint, man, he just had a giant R painted on his face.
Right.
Like, what?
Really stupid.
Yeah. Oh, man, I heard the R, man.
Oh, man.
Man. So
I forgot all about that part because I'm not looking at my notes right now, but I completely forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the genesis of this?
Yep.
Because you wanted
Rio,
to really punch.
Lord of the Jungle. It's good stuff, man.
Why'd you make me watch this? Did I insult your mother or something? Talk shit about your wife or something? Like, what the hell did I do?
Come on. This is some good crap, pal. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The Dustin Rhodes versus Blacktop Bully truck match will be pre-taped and then spliced into the show because they don't want to risk. Listen to this, because they don't want to risk anything bad happening while trying to shoot live from the back of a moving truck.
It kind of negates the whole thing that we're about to talk about, the aftermath of this, then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or it just makes the editors dumb, right? Something, I don't know.
Well, WCW logic, let's have a match in the back of a moving truck and we'll pre-tape it because otherwise we might look stupid.
Ship has sailed and it is in the middle of the damn ocean, dude. Sorry.
Yep. So they taped a match with Steven Regal versus Bobby Eaton for TV on March 18th, and it was really weird. It was really weird as Eaton was a total babyface. After Regal won cleanly, he went to the interview podium and said that he wanted to team with Eaton. And thus, the Blue Bloods are born.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
There
he became the Earl of Eaton.
Yes, Robert Earl of Eaton. Good God. Yeah, the guy from Alabama.
Roll Tide, England.
So Dave Sullivan did a stretcher job for Vader at the same tapings, and this drew some heat from those in charge because, and Uncle Dave swears he's not making this up, they didn't want to hurt Evad's credibility for his upcoming feud with DDP.
Right.
I don't even know where to begin with that. Oh my God. Yeah, Evad Sullivan's great credibility.
The big money feud with the 40-year-old rookie. It's not a knock on DDP because I love DDP. But at the time, he's the oldest dude in wrestling. It's a rookie. Yeah. There's not but money in that feud, huh?
And his bunny rabbit.
And this is Dave Sullivan, right? So he's doing the whole handicap thing, right?
Yeah, where he's like dyslexic and special and that's whatever. Lovely. I don't know. Yep. Well, speaking of,
can't make any of this up, folks, and we're not.
Well, speaking of people with no drawing power, Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom are at the WCW TV tapings, apparently in line for a push as a baseball playing tag team. What?
Those who don't know, that's the Beverly Brothers.
Yeah. / the Wrecking Crew from AWA. Yeah. Wasn't Mike Enos in the ring when Scott Hall debuted?
Yeah, he was the Mauler, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something from there.
Huh?
Is Shaker Heights, Ohio, a really like an uptight rich place or something?
I've never been there, and other than the Beverly Brothers like being announced from there, I have no idea what the hell it is. I'm just gonna say that. I think it's close to Cleveland.
I know. I shouldn't just assume that because I never heard of Rancho Cucamonga until the Hartley Boys came along.
Good Lord!
Oh, I didn't.
Isn't that? Didn't we find out that that's kind of a more richy area down there?
Well, the explanation that I saw was it's a high tax bracket or something like that, which is the easy way of saying rich neighbor. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So WCW is pushing hard to get Kurt Hennig in as one of the new Four Horsemen, although they've gone down this road before, and it always ends badly for them.
Yeah, okay, it'll happen soon.
Ish.
Just 2 more years. Just 2 more, guys. Come on.
Yeah, right. Just hold out there. WCW is also trying to get Elizabeth, but Uncle Dave is pretty sure that no one has actually contacted her about it yet. Yeah, she'll be there shortly. In ECW, this is my only ECW story we got today.
Hold on. You can't just introduce it like that. What the hell?
It's only one story. It doesn't get.
I don't care.
Show.
Yes, it does.
Oh, God,
you're ruining the integrity of our show, you ass. What are you doing?
This week in ECW.
Thank you.
There we go.
Now I'm
anyway.
Happy.
In ECW, the Comfort Inn. Good God. The Comfort Inn that had been acting as the unofficial headquarters for the promotion, is no longer allowing wrestlers to stay there. Apparently, there has been a series of disturbances.
What the hell? I feel like we've already done this story. Or something similar to it.
Something similar, yes.
Does this happen again?
I want to say yes.
Holy crap.
They keep getting kicked out of hotels and motels, man.
Holy crap, this is great.
Look at their roster. Come on. Yikes.
This is not the exact same story, correct?
No, this isn't the exact same story, but damn close.
God, this has happened multiple times.
Yep. It's Yep, it's something. Well, as we mentioned, we mentioned this guy earlier, John Hawk defended his North American title against Greg Valentine in Jim Crockett's Dying Dallas promotion next week. Or excuse me, he will defend it. They're doing a feud where manager Brandon Baxter brought out a guy in a turban and a white sheet as Sergeant Snack Bar in a scathing parody of Skandar Akbar, and pulled off the sheet to reveal Dusty Wolf in a Doink the Clown outfit.
What the fuck?
Oh.
Like, why? Like, what?
Why not?
Yeah, this is something. So, for those worried that Jacques Rougeau's retirement might have been real, he's working a show in Taunton, Massachusetts on March 24th. Oh, well, thank God.
You can count on one hand the amount of people that were worried that was real or even cared.
How
You'd have
you,
4 fingers
Greg?
left.
It's the Mountie. Show some damn respect. Put some respect on
Always gets his man.
Exactly. And we still have not gotten the answer to the question, does he like the way that leather feels against his body? But either way.
Not in the archives, right?
Yeah. What show was that?
SummerSlam 1991? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right. Good God. So in the USWA, PG-13 did a hair versus hair match against Tommy Rich and Gorgeous George III, a.k.a.
Wildfire, Tommy Rich.
Gorgeous George III, by the way, would go on to be the maestro in WCW, and drew a 1,600-person house in a 4-star match. Good God, Dave. I don't know if he's being sarcastic. They also drew 4 times the average for the Nashville shows this week as well. Rich and Sid actually...
That's almost as many people that showed up for Bunkhouse Bunk versus Jimmy Graffiti.
Hell yeah, man. So Tommy Rich and Sid actually got into a big dressing room argument over who was the bigger draw and most over while Sid was champion. And although everyone outside the territory thought that it was Sid and everyone inside the territory thought it was Rich, the answer now seems pretty clear.
Right.
Really?
2023, I think we know.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to insinuate that, oh, well, Rich drew a pretty big house in USWA this one time. Gives a crap.
Who else was on the card?
Yeah. Like, God. Last story I got here. George Zahorian is out of prison and trying to get his medical license back. God.
I don't think he ever does.
Probably not. He describes his prison stay as worse than hell.
Right.
I mean...
worse than Dominic Mysterio's.
Good God. Zahorian claims to have been led astray and used by the world of pro wrestling. Wow. Attorneys from the state are vehemently against reinstating his license since he never actually admitted to his crimes. He's currently working for $5 an hour as a clerk.
Well, if he admitted to his crimes, he'd be in jail still. I mean...
Yeah.
Kind of a double-edged sword there, if you ask me.
Yeah, right. So admit to it.
Although nobody did ask me, so...
Yeah, right. Good God. It's a weird story, man. But if anybody doesn't know, Dr. Zahorian, go back and watch that Dark Side of the Ring on the steroid steroid scandal. So that was a big thing. He was a big player in it. So
yeah, that was a big thing too.
Good God. Anyway, we're gonna take our next break here. We're gonna get into the event at hand finally. Yay us!
Oh, finally!
God, here we go. We're getting uncensored right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
gang, it's Commissioner Cooper of TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. Expert fantasy advice, free contests, leading expert medical and legal analysis, and most importantly, you. Interact with us on all social media platforms or check us out at tssfantasy.com. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Check out the fun today and be a part of the most interactive fantasy show around. TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan McCarthy, and I'm the host of the No Credentials Required podcast. Start your work week with the Monday Drop-In, where I talk about the sports beat in the Capital District, also known as the Mighty 518, as well as Metro New York sports from an upstate point of view. I also give a life lesson from a weekly sports story, so you might learn something from that. I also have a midweek podcast where I interview different sports personalities and talk about a wide array of topics. Take a listen and subscribe on your preferred podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check out our social media channels on Twitter and Instagram, BellyUpNCR, and Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR. We're a part of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network in association with Godzilla Media. No credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
The main event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back.
We're back.
WCW Uncensored 1995 took place on March 19th, 1995. Tagline: unsanctioned, unauthorized, unbelievable.
Yeah,
unwatchable.
You said a mouthful with that one, dude. Unbelievable.
Yeah. They left off unwatchable, but, whatever. The venue was the Tupelo Coliseum in Tupelo, Mississippi, because when I think of obscure shows that nobody wants to see, I think of Tupelo, Mississippi. The attendance was 5,782. Cool. And the buy rate was 0.96, which meant that 200,000 people bought this crap.
That means they were able to convince 290,000 people that it was good or worth getting.
Yeah. Yikes, man.
This was one of the ones that my buddy recorded onto a VHS tape. Google that and let me watch it afterwards.
Said by God.
He got it through nefarious ways, of course.
Did he tell you before you watch it? Let me tell you, don't watch it.
Don't watch it. No, dude, we were all 1995. We're 11, dude. We were oblivious to how bad this was.
Yeah.
Dude, I told you I used to run home on Mondays to watch Raw, no matter what was going on. It was probably the worst piece of crap in the world. I didn't give a damn. Still don't in some way, but I look at it differently.
Hey, man, when I was a young kid, I thought The Mummy Returns was great. So look back at it now, I was like, man, it's a pile of crap. But either way. But we begin with a goofy-ass opening video where wrestlers keep telling us to get out of their faces. Okay. We now go to Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and Mike Tenay. Tony lets us know that Ric Flair is in Vader's corner tonight, so Hulk Hogan had to go to the dark side to find a suitable person in his corner. The Renegade.
And we don't know what he looks like at this point, right?
We we can't see the full thing, but remember, Hogan was cutting some goofy-ass promo, and he's behind him, posing, and there's, steam coming down. So it's kind of covering his face a bit. I don't effing know, but either way. Either way, where is the dark side, and how do you wander around finding people?
It's right outside Parts Unknown. I can't believe you don't know your geography. What's wrong with you?
Oh, yeah, right. Is it close to Dudleyville? That's how I judge everything.
It's right outside of it.
Okay, there you go.
So it's Dudleyville's right here, and then Parts Unknown's right outside of it.
Ah, okay, good to know.
And it's all taking place in the deepest, darkest part of your mind.
Oh, hell yeah. And the catacombs, that too. But Tony tries to keep hyping the show and the WCW hotline, but he's interrupted by a video screen that shows the first quote-unquote match has already begun. By the way, people keep getting interrupted tonight. I'll get into that. It's just everybody's off. This whole show sucks. But this is Dustin Rhodes versus the Blacktop Bully in a King of the Road match. No official time announced. And man, we're starting off hot, man. It's only downhill from here. Bobby Heenan tells us that the back of that truck, covered in hay, probably smells like Dusty Rhodes' living room.
Yep.
To which I chuckled. 1995 would be the first year WCW ever made money since Turner bought it, and but I'm not sure how when they rented out this truck, the road, a pickup truck to drive beside the semi, and a damn helicopter to film it from the damn air. Well, maybe they borrowed WCW's Extreme Chopper.
I think we get some cops at 1.2, don't we?
Maybe? I don't remember. It's just, and I think they said they actually, Tony Schiavone said, I think that they actually filmed this in North Carolina somewhere. It's like, oh, yeah, don't give away the magic. Come on. Anyway, look, I realize they're on the back. I realize they're on the back of a moving semi, but these poor bastards have to pretend that they can't climb up a 6-foot cage thing and ring a damn bell.
Yeah, we should probably mention that. The point of this match is to get up there and ring that damn bell.
Yeah, right. So the screen messes up a few times, and they claim it's microwave interference.
Oh, sure. That's the act of God that we were all looking for.
Yeah, right. For some reason, by the way,
unbelievers, this match is proof that he may exist or not exist. Depends on how you look at it, but
it's also proof that the editors saw all this and decided, yeah, let's leave it in.
Yeah,
right. They could have cut that, and nobody would have been any the wiser.
We'll get to it, but I do have a question about that at the end. It's like something that's always bothered me about this whole thing.
Well, for some reason, Blacktop Bully tries climbing out of the semi. That's smart. Rhodes gets busted open at one point. Finally, Bully knocks Rhodes off the top and blows the horn. We go back into the arena where they blow off a ton of pyro like someone just won the damn Royal Rumble. Uncle Dave gives it Nick.
I want to point out, by the way, for those who may not know, this is literally Goldust versus Demolition Smash.
Right. And no one gave a damn. Uncle Dave gave it negative dose stars. I gave it a star. What say you?
I gave it 1. Again, I tested it tested me. Do you want to go 0 on this? Because if there was ever a 0 for me to give, it's right here, dude.
Yeah.
But I want to save that elusive 0 stars for an actual match. Yeah, right. And I know I'm using that loosely, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, oh, this was not really a match. It was a sideshow in the back of a truck. So
you don't say, yeah. But we go to the back with Mike Tenay, where he's standing by with Colonel Robert Parker, a.k.a. Foghorn Leghorn, Arn Anderson, and Meng to talk about Arn's boxer versus wrestler match against Johnny the Bad.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Arn says that he's going to avoid the big left, and instead he's going to hit him with a DDT. Parker rambles to put over Meng's uncensored martial arts style.
Look, I get that he was like a Texas oil tycoon or whatever, but he sounded like he had Tourette's when he talked. You notice that?
I didn't notice that, no. But yeah, he just sounded like Foghorn Leghorn to me. Like he should have started every promo with I say.
He looked like Colonel Sanders' offspring, dude.
Yeah, right. He's like, come on by, and I might fill you in on at least one of my secret herbs and spices.
I want to point out we're well past Labor Day at this point. Why is he wearing white?
How dare he? That's the biggest crime going on here. But Tenay cuts Parker off because he keeps going on, and instead plays a video package for the next match. Cool. This next one is Meng with Colonel Robert Parker versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a martial arts match. The referee, this is our first sighting.
Because when I think of martial arts, man, I think of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, man.
God dang it, you took one of my notes. This one goes about 7 minutes.
Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's martial arts right there, damn it.
Well, he's right up there with Chuck Norris, man. Come on. Meng is in full Japanese.
He's crapped on a legend, so you can go to hell for that.
Well, I'm not crapping on. I was just saying. He's like, well, when I think
you kind of did by comparing him to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. A little bit, you did.
When I think of white boys in karate, it's Chuck Norris and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Come on.
All right,
and Steven Seagal, of course.
And Steve Black.
Skinny or fat, that man cannot act. Anyway,
he had a few good movies, so screw that. Above the Law is a great movie. I'll stand by that.
Well, Meng is in full Japanese wardrobe, and it makes him look like a little bit like a geisha ninja. Not my words, by the way. It was another reviewer that I had seen, and I was like, I'm taking that. But Jim Duggan comes out in jeans, a ripped-up T-shirt, a headband, biker boots, and fists taped up to his elbows.
Right.
He saved you time. He came out looking as white can be.
Well, redundant statement.
How hard was that?
Redundant statement is redundant, but he looks like an idiot. And here's where I put, and when I think of martial arts match, I think of Jim effing Duggan. The only semblance of rules that we get come from Tony Schiavone, so the in-house crowd is clueless. He says that, quote, basically, in this martial arts match, you can pin your man, you can knock him out, they are going to be fighting, end quote.
Yeah, there's no point system as in there would be in a martial arts match, right? So,
Yeah. Well, I still think that, not to spoil the ending, but Jimmy would have won if he swept the leg. But
yeah, exactly.
But so
you got a problem with that? No such thing.
But basically, pinfall and KO only. It sounds like Ono wasn't known at this time, so he's not a heel. But Duggan starts off mocking.
That was in my notes too. I'm like, I didn't even know he was a ref ever. But I guess
just this
it
one
makes
time.
Sense.
Well, Eric Bischoff called in a favor. For anybody that doesn't know, they're boys in real life. But Duggan starts off mocking the
rules on here.
Yeah,
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
Wow. Duggan starts off mocking the Japanese traditions and even takes his boot off to beat Meng with it.
No more American than a little bit of racism, huh?
Yeah, he's the baby face here, man. He's hitting him with foreign objects. He's mocking Japanese people. Like, yeah, there you go, man. Oh, God. And you know who's not taking offense to that? His opponent, because he's
the Japanese guy. The Japanese guy in the ring is actually okay with it. Or at least he doesn't show any emotion about it.
Well, he's probably, if anybody's going to be offended, it's not going to be his opponent. It's going to be the damn referee. So there you go. But he even threatens to hit Ono a few times. So
yeah, right.
Real baby face there.
And again, now I'm piecing something together. Now I'm just getting it now. When you mentioned he was like, making fun of Japanese people and then threatens to hit him, how is that not true as ultimate racism? I hate Japanese people. I'm going to hit the Japanese ref. Come on, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's all coming to me now.
Surprised he didn't call him Charlie's or something. Anyway,
there's always
Parker gets
some
involved.
guy named Charlie.
Good God. Parker gets involved quite a bit. Ono tries to pull Duggan off of him once, and that leaves him open for a sidekick from Meng, leading to a pinfall win. Yet again, Uncle Dave gave this negative dose stars. I gave it a 1.5 stars. It sucked really bad, but hot damn, they tried. What say you?
I'll give it 1, even though it felt like number 2.
That it did. Well, save that, because up next, we see a package.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny B. Bad versus Arn Anderson. Arn had turned heel and joined Colonel Robert Parker's stable, which was the best stable. Yeah, the best stable. I mean, it had Bunkhouse Buck in it. And Dick Slater joined it at one point. So
it's not Dick Slater. I need you to get that name right, please.
Excuse me, Dirty Dick Slater.
Thank you.
Unwashed Dick Slater.
Wash it after.
There you go. But we get an interview with Johnny B. Bad and his trainer, Rock Finnegan. Johnny's dressed like a boxer and calls his left hand Dreamland. We now see a video of Arn Anderson where he's apparently supposed to be a heel because he's driving a pickup truck and works construction. Real heelish.
Working class man's a heel. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, F him, right? We then get various clips of him.
Me, right?
We then get various clips of him beating people up. You're not going to get this, but I'm going to assume this promo was the archetype for the Rip Wheeler character from Yellowstone.
Is this like an early version of the Willie Regal's Working Man's Man?
Good Lord. Yeah, except this one might actually be legitimate. This is Arn Anderson with Colonel Robert Parker in his corner, taking on Johnny B. Bad with Rock Finnegan in his corner. It's a boxer versus wrestler match. It ends 22 seconds in the 4th round. So Arn Anderson is the television champion, but it's not on the line because this is uncensored, damn it. You can't possibly put a title on the line.
I don't know if you're joking or not, but you're probably spot on.
Although I will say they did mention in the tagline it's unsanctioned. So, I mean, at least they covered their base with that, as dumb as it may be. The announcer says that This is scheduled to go for 10 3-minute rounds with a 1-minute rest between rounds, so God help us. You can win by KO or pin.
Well, I had to watch this whole thing, so he didn't help us. At least not me.
Tony begins this match by speculating on the whereabouts of Hulk Hogan's manager, Jimmy Hart.
Yeah. Oh, match. It's in my notes, too. I'm like, dude, does anybody give a damn about Jimmy Hart, really?
Well, and Greg, this isn't going to set up for anything later on, I'm sure.
Oh, it's not.
But round 1 ends with Arn on his ass in the corner. After the bell rings at the end of round 2, Arn jumps Johnny and hits the DDT. He then attacks him in the corner and tosses him out of the ring for Parker to attack. Partway through round 3, Rock Finnegan jumps Anderson from behind and gets tossed off. Before round 4, Finnegan cuts the left glove off of Johnny's hand. When Anderson charges into the corner, Finnegan throws a spit bucket on his head. Johnny punches it and knocks him out for 10. Uncle Dave.
I kind of find that a little bit clever, honestly.
It was. But, man, Uncle Dave rated this higher than I did. He gave it 2.5 stars. I gave it 1.5. What say you?
1.
Suck.
How did it end? Because I feel like I didn't realize where it ended.
Well, it's just like he punched him, and then they just counted to 10, and they're like, he's knocked out. So there you go.
Oh, he counted. Okay, I must have missed the count or something.
Yeah, he's
I'm watching. Like, is this over?
The ref kind of like faded into the back a little bit, so they don't focus on him. But
that's what I missed.
Yeah, but he was counting, so there's that. But next up, we get a video package for the Macho Man, in case you didn't know who the F he was by now. We now go backstage with Mike Tenay standing by with Macho Man Randy Savage. He starts shouting like usual, then he shoves Tenay and says, "I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'll knock you out. Get that smile off your face right now. I'll take anybody out on the way. No more Mr. Nice Guy, brother. See you later." This was like, holy crap, Macho. Like, what are you even saying here?
I like how some of my all-time favorites, like him and Hogan Warrior, they just like rambled. Like, what the hell did you just say?
And it's so memeable now. Like, some of the stuff they say is just so epically memeable. But what was...
You know what? Say what you will, man, but this stuff line their pockets, man, so...
Hell yeah. Well, up next is this. It's Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Avalanche.
I want to say this is the last time he's the Avalanche. I want to say.
Yeah, I think the next month he's the Shark, and he's in the Dungeon of Doom, I think.
I am Dungeon of Doom.
Keep this in mind. This is a no disqualification match. And
yeah.
On the no DQ pay-per-view, by the way.
Oh yeah, they tell you that time. It's it's no rules. It's uncensored. Everything goes here.
Dude, Bobby Heenan said that like 5,000 times. Anytime anything happened, well, it's uncensored, and then some like rules would be applied, and then he would just ignore it. Well, it's uncensored. Like, shut the F up, Bobby. But the Avalanche, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, we just mentioned the Shark, whatever, but he was also Earthquake and John Tenta, whatever. But Avalanche actually pulls off a running drop kick at one point.
Man, like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, right. And, I mean, he's a big guy, so it's like, oh, shocker. But people talk about how much Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar sweat buckets. Like, dude, look at him, man. Like, he was dripping. But at one point outside of the ring, Macho Man gets jumped by a woman, quote unquote, who is clearly Ric Flair dressed in drag.
Yeah, I know. It takes us like 10 minutes to figure it out, by the way. Come on, dude.
And this was completely pointless. And
I know, right? That's my note. I'm like, why was he dressed up in drag? Because he just came out of the crowd. Why couldn't he run from the back as Ric Flair?
Yep. And he went way too damn far with this outfit, by the way. Like, even for
I'm glad you said that, because one of my notes here is like, I'm not an expert on guy liner, but I think he might have used a tad too much. Just a little bit.
Yeah, he used a lot of makeup. That was a gigantic wig. And that outfit was outdated for 95. So, like, he looked like a grandma.
All right, this is going to be some inside baseball. Do you remember at WrestleMania 34, that guy that kept going to get beer every 5 minutes? He was wearing the Flair robe with the big-ass wig. Yep. I had flashbacks to that watching this.
God. It was literally a bathrobe that it looked like he glued feathers on. Yeah.
And I think I said he didn't look like Ric Flair. He looked like when Bobby Heenan was trying to sneak into the Manhattan Center on like one of the first episodes of Raw. You know, he did not look like Flair at all. I don't know what the hell he was going for.
Ric Flair, by the way, who wasn't even at that show, but whatever. But either way, Hulk Hogan eventually runs out and chases off the Avalanche and Ric Flair, and as you guessed it, Savage wins via disqualification in a no DQ match. Look, this match wasn't great to begin with, but that finish brought it down even further. I gave it an 8.5.
I was laughing the whole time when I heard what you mean by DQ. I'm like, what the hell did I miss? So I literally go and pull up Wikipedia. I'm like, this was a no DQ match, right? Like, did I miss something?
The bookers are idiots. Yeah, so there you go. That's what you missed. Uncle Dave gave it a 1.25. I gave it a 1.5. What say you?
1 star.
I say that about Savage match. But,
okay, I was gonna say I've now said that about a Savage match and an Arn Anderson match in one show. That's not something you do every so often.
Yeah, right. That's a special kind of show for you.
There's another one coming up too that might kind of be like, whoa, really?
Yep. Well, this next
I think you know what it is.
This next match is actually match of the night, which is weird to say, at least in my opinion.
But that bar is on the floor.
Yeah. Well, Hogan helped Savage to the back after Savage had taken the sit-down splash from Avalanche earlier. In the end, in the back, Mike Tenay is with Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry. Stevie Ray is excited for tonight that there are, quote, no rules and no regulations. Cool. Booker T says that he might
hit last match.
Booker T says that he might hit someone with something foreign, if you know what he's saying. So, is he going to hit somebody
international?
Right. Well, my question is, so is he going to hit somebody with Sonny Ono?
I didn't say it.
And then he
send
said
your
that
tweets to. Okay, it's at @Marks, and it is both of us, but Troy runs the Twitter, so at him, not me.
Yeah, right.
Leave me out of that one.
He then says that he'll leave Tupelo obliviated, which I think is a Harry Potter spell.
I think if you're obliviated, aren't you the victim?
Well,
it was supposed to. I'm going to obliviate you. Aren't you the victim? I'm obliviated.
No, somebody that's obliviated, I think, is basically just like confused. So it's like you're going to.
I'm oblivious. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So are people going to be confused?
I don't know grammar today.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I know that's a Harry Potter spell, but yeah.
Yeah, people are definitely going to be confused because they're in Mississippi and they see a black guy.
Oh my God! Hey, whoa! I know what you're getting at, but there are a lot of black guys in Mississippi. So
just going off the old Southern white guy thing.
Well, and I mean, we're not going to talk about why there are a lot of black guys in Mississippi. We're going to leave that one alone. But either way, moving on. For the next time, God.
I had a friend from Mississippi, dude. He was as Southern as they can be. That's where I'm getting this from.
Yeah, well, you don't say. But for the second time tonight, Mike Tenay cuts off a manager in the middle of their promo for a video package, and Sherry stares a hole through him.
This is going on right now in WWE and AEW. Every time we're doing an interview with somebody, we got to cut off. Something else is going on. Something more important than you.
Yeah, right. Shut the F up. We got to show a video package.
It's usually Eddie Kingston or somebody else. I forget who off the top of my head. Keep getting cut off.
Eddie Kingston quit because AEW sucks, and now he's in Ring of Honor with basically the same people, and it's so much better.
Oh, is that where that went?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that. I saw the thing when he quit.
Yeah, people were.
Which is ironic because I was there, but.
Yeah, well, people were mocking him on Twitter because he popped up on in Ring of Honor and then tweeted about it like it was real. He's like, "Oh, it's like the early days of AEW. I feel so free over here." And they're like, "Dude, it's basically the same roster."
Yeah, but I watched the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that they put on, and it's better than the AEW stuff. So maybe he did make an upgrade.
Yeah, right. Why can Tony? Is Tony booking that too? Because if he is,
I'm going to say no. There's no way in hell because Ring of Honor is so damn good, even with him in charge. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy that Matt Taven's back. That's all I care about. But
yeah, you go 2 streets over, down an alley, and up a little hill. There's a bush in front of this house. That's Matt Taven's house.
God.
That's a real story, folks, from some guy we met in Orlando.
Yeah. But this match up next,
may not have had relations with a family member, by the way.
Good
Be
Lord.
his own mouth.
Yeah. But running away from that as quickly as possible. In my opinion, like you said, this bar is on the floor, but this, in my opinion, is match of the night. It's Big Bubba Rogers versus Sting in an anything goes match, which is the same thing as a no DQ match. So, whatever. But it goes 13 minutes, 43 seconds. Big Bubba is back in his suit and fedora as he went back to this gimmick after
and
no
they
longer being...
explain it to you. I like that. Did you catch that?
Right.
They explained to you why he's Big Bubba again.
Yeah, he's not the guardian angel anymore.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But Bubba points his finger at Sting to start the match, so Sting bites it and then punches him. I mean, what? And to which Bobby Heenan says, "Well, it's uncensored." But Bubba wants his hat back, but instead Sting teases him.
I like this hat.
And then he leg drops it and tosses it into the crowd. To which Bobby Heenan says, "Well, it's uncensored." But Bubba works Sting's leg a lot, so Sting collapses during so Sting collapses during a scoop slam attempt, and Bubba pins him for the win, which shocked the hell out of me. But Uncle Dave and I both gave this 2.5 stars for average. What say you?
I as well gave it 2. It was not that bad.
No, it's pretty good. I mean, it could have been on Nitro, but it was still pretty good.
It probably was.
Yeah, well, I know there was no Nitro at this time, whatever, but okay,
Or it could
so
have been on
Saturday
Main Event
night.
or Saturday night, whatever.
Yeah, right.
It
But
probably did happen in the Disney World soundstage. So.
Yeah, right. But backstage, Mike Tenay is standing by with the Nasty Boys. Knobs is screaming about whether or not we're ready for the Nasty sensation. That does not sound pleasant. He also says that they're about to tear down Tucson.
They're going to get nasticized.
Too bad the pay-per-view's in Tupelo. More screaming.
Tucson.
Yeah.
It's like hell far away from Tucson.
Right. More screaming, more yelling. Mike Tenay sends us to the second video play-up package for this match.
This was a really hyped feud. I don't know if you know that or not, but I'm not saying it's great, but this was a long-running hyped feud. So.
Like, I could get that, but it's just like, how many video play-up packages do we need, man? Rock and Austin got like 1 or 2.
Maybe because Rock and Austin are not as good as the Harlem Heat and the Nasty Boys.
Exactly. They wish they were Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags and Stevie Ray. I'm leaving out Booker because he was good, but anyway, I know it's a hot take. Stevie Ray wasn't good. How dare I?
Time Hall of Famer. What do you mean he's good?
But this is the Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry taking on the Nasty Boys in a Texas Tornado Falls Count Anywhere match in 8 minutes, 43 seconds. This is a non-title because you can't possibly have the titles defended like this.
Right.
Sherry comes out alone, and when the Nasties ask what's going on, she claims she doesn't know where Harlem Heat is. This allows Booker and Stevie to jump them from behind. Sherry gets taken to Pity City at one point. Yeah. They eventually battle back to a set-up concession stand in reference to the famous Tupelo concession stand brawl from the Territory days that I'm sure like 5 people watching this show get the reference to. Ketchup and mustard flies everywhere, and everyone slips and slides. Sherry falls once, and I guess she nearly breaks her tailbone. They tear down the concession stands. Brian Knobbs drops Booker T on some debris with a power slam and pins him to win as the camera barely catches it, panning over to see Jerry Sags and Stevie Ray. That's some awesome camera work there, man. But Uncle Dave gives this 2.5 stars. I gave it 2 because it wasn't all that good. What say you?
I gave it 2 because it was kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll say fun. It wasn't terrible. But we now join Mike Tenay in the back with Vader. Vader steals the mic and scares away Tenay. Vader cuts a pretty strong promo about how Hulk Hogan has nowhere else to hide because it's uncensored, unsanctioned. And then he says Hogan's in trouble. He puts over the 23 world titles that he and Flair have put together. And Vader hands the mic over to Rick.
He couldn't at least go fix himself.
Yeah, and Flair still has eyeliner and eyeshadow on, which is hilarious. And I like, by the way, how Vader hands the mic over and continues to cut a promo because he don't need no damn mic. Flair says that he's heard his whole career that Hogan was the guy that Flair couldn't ever beat, but tonight he's helping to end Hulkamania.
Right.
He does. Next Uncensored.
Exactly.
Which we have now alluded to twice in this episode.
Right. We now get clips of Ric Flair helping Vader attack Hulk Hogan, Hogan fighting back with a leather strap, and hinting at an ultimate surprise, a.k.a. the Renegade. And to which I say, yeah, because a leather strap is a practical weapon when you're fighting people off.
It wasn't a Yuppa Pie, was it?
No, that's coming up in about 5 years at Uncensored 2000.
The history of this pay-per-view just sucks, dude.
How dare you? The Yapapa Indian strap match, brother, was like historic. We got to review that someday. Anyway, we're going to take our second last break. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, it's main event time. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
What's up, everybody? I am the hardest part of the ring, the host of the Apron Bump podcast. Ugh, another wrestling podcast. How many times can I listen to fans tell me who needs a push, who doesn't need a push, who brings Vince's coffee these days? Enough! The Apron Bump is about the journey. It's about nostalgia. It's about discovering new forms of wrestling to really tickle your pickle as a wrestling fan. The podcast brings you reviews of wrestling events all over the world, whether it's WWF, WWE, WCW, ECW. We even cover the golden eras of Ring of Honor, Progress, TNA, and more promotions in the future as well. New episodes every Wednesday. Bump Day, yeah? Go to apronbump.com or go to your favorite podcast platform or YouTube and subscribe today for the most diverse, fan-friendly wrestling podcast in the world. I'm Hard.
Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
It's Vader with Ric Flair in his corner, taking on Hulk Hogan in a strap match. This goes about 15.5 minutes. Yet again, the WCW World Heavyweight Championship is not on the line. When Hogan comes out, Tony Schiavone is wondering where the hell Jimmy Hart and the Renegade are. Before Hogan can get strapped up, Vader and Flair are backing him down.
I feel like I should have did some research on this. Was he like kidnapped at one point, and that's why they kept asking, where is he? Oh, not again, not again.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to say yes. That's why he comes out looking the way he does.
I guarantee you I was watching WCW at this time. I just can't remember off the top of my head why the hell he wasn't there.
Right, yeah. And the people in-house have no idea what the hell is going on because they don't announce that. But either way, they're backing Hogan down, and now the Renegade's music finally hits, and he has his Ultimate Warrior impression entrance, chasing Ric Flair to the back. Because, if one guy deserves his own entrance at this show, it's the effing Renegade.
And I do remember vividly watching this, thinking that legitimately was the Ultimate Warrior. I really did.
What the hell happened to him? This doesn't last long, however, as Flair comes back out, and Renegade just keeps shouting and staring at him. He's like an NPC in a video game, where every time you walk past him, it just activates him, and he's like, weird. But Vader's mask gets ripped off almost right away. Renegade doesn't prove to be much use, as Flair does manage to slide in and distract Hogan at one point. Renegade literally keeps shouting like an angry baboon. Beyond this, because this is uncensored, Vader pulls the strap off of Hogan's wrist and just beats him with it before hitting him with a chair. Because, there are no rules, Greg. Jimmy Hart is finally here, looking all tore up and wearing Zubaz, it looks like. He distracts Vader long enough for Hogan to hit him with a chair. A man in a mask and a full black bodysuit finally runs out to take out the Renegade before leaving. This allows Ric Flair to beat up Hulk Hogan and help Vader. Vader ends up getting unstrapped again, and Flair taunts too much, allowing Hogan to get back up and beat up Flair. Hogan then rips Flair's shirt, puts the strap on Flair's wrist, and drags Flair around the ring to touch all 4 turnbuckles. This somehow gives Hulk the win. How? Why? Because you, that's why. Uncle Dave was smoking pot because he gave this 3.5 stars. I gave it 2.
It's back then, but it's legal in California now, so.
Yeah, right. I gave this dose. What say you?
I barely gave it 2. This sucked.
Yeah, it blows.
But I can't give 1 star to anything I actually had. At one point, I had fun watching, even though I did dwindle quickly, but I was having some fun watching it.
This was a mess, man. And the mess isn't over.
Hold on, when you say that, I need you to clarify. You're talking about the match or the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. But Vader and Flair beat up Hogan after the match until Renegade joins him. The Masked Man runs out again with a chair to back up Vader and Flair. They get all excited until Arn Anderson comes out without a mask and hogtied, barely able to hop along. The Masked Man now takes out Vader and Flair, rips the mask off.
You couldn't tell who this was?
Yeah. Well, he rips the mask off to reveal that he's the Macho Man. The babyfaces celebrate together as the heels run for the hills.
He did all the mannerisms, dude. Gotta give him.
It's kind of like when Flair was the Black Scorpion. You couldn't tell that big beak sticking through the mask. Like, come on.
Remember, dude? It's just now dawning on me. WCW loved doing the black mask thing. Remember when it was Brutus the Effenbauer Beefcake?
Yeah, I swear.
They love doing that.
I swear to God, they were just digging through crap in the back, and they're like, "What are we going to do with this Black Scorpion outfit? We'll save it. Maybe it'll come up again." By God. But that is the end of the show, mercifully. On the other end of this, our final break here, we're going to get into the final ratings and telling you what's coming up next week, and I promise it is as good as this is bad.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan. Oh, yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
we shared the room.
Shared a room?
We shared the room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast?
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah, well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. I nearly stuffed up the ending.
No, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Salute, mate.
Take it easy.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks.
And we're back. Final ratings here. Internet Movie Database gives us 4.9 out of 10. CageMatch.net gives it 2.27 out of 10. I give it 5.5 out of 10 for an F. What say you?
Solid F minus.
Hard F. All I could think of is my favorite thing from Community, where he's like, F minus.
This was one of the all-time bad ones, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? Look at the roster. Dude. It was like, had some star power on it. It was not like it was like jobbers and nobodies and looking to fill in gaps.
Yeah, it's not like they had a roster full of jabronis. It's like, God, I don't know what we're going to do here. Whatever.
And you have bad matches that involve Macho Man and another one with Arn Anderson. There's a problem there, dude.
Yeah. WWE did a concept like this pay-per-view later, obviously, with Extreme Rules. But the difference is they did it good. So, yeah. Anyway, that does it for that. Up next, it is our second of 3 WrestleManias we're going to review this month. Next week, we're covering WWE WrestleMania 19. Took place in 2003, and a damn good show. a damn good
The
show.
all-time great shows in the history of pro wrestling, I would say.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize like every match just about is a freaking banger, and like everybody is like they're in WrestleMania mode, kicking it into high gear, being awesome. Good crap, pal. God dang it. I'm thoroughly enjoying the rewatch, and yeah, so look out for that next week. The week after that, we can't promise great quality. I still haven't watched the shows yet, but Greg, according to him, he was not a fan of these ones. But the next week it's double main event week. We've got TNA Lockdown 2013 and the WCW New Japan Super Show. I think this is 94. So yeah, we'll watch that, or we'll review it rather, and that'll be fun. But thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for doing this to me again.
Oh, you're welcome. And making it up to you with next week. And we'll see you all next week with WrestleMania 19.